as a 10-year-old child, to feel that pressure that you now have to be a replacement for your father, like
Crazy.
That's stress. These people know what they're doing because obviously that breaks down a lot of families to then have the kids that are on the roads that are causing the statistics for knife crime and this and that and hating and gang culture.
But as a man, when you enter a room, whether you like it or not, you're immediately sensing energy. What type of man am I dealing with?
Yeah.
You've done 10 years, you've been institutionalized, you haven't been rehabilitated back into the community. So what do? You turn around, you close yourself off, and then you end up leaving those notes. When I was in college, right, for me, the basis for a woman for me to be interested in, it's going to sound crazy on camera as well.
Yeah, it's fine.
She had to have KKK.
Okay, here we go.
Right? It's I'll tell you something.
Racist.
Yeah.
She has the white hood on. Come down in a horse and try to hang me.
None of that freaky business, right? What you been doing in bed, you do yourself.
Your college experience was different.
But she had to be able to cook, clean, and cane roll. That was my establishment.
Oh, CCC.
Yeah. No, KKK because it's controversial. Right?
Okay, yeah.
What the hell is that? You engage them in conversation.
Ankle, the American. He's gone indigenous.
Exactly. So I tell you, man, that was my basis. Cook, clean, and cane roll. When I say cook, you know, I like to eat, you like to eat. Cleanliness is next to godliness. And I wanted my space to be clean, but I wanted a clean environment, a clean headspace and whatever it is. So you're bringing all this drama. I don't want to hear it. You get me? When you come around here, I don't want your drama. You get me? I want us to be able to connect and whatever it is. You get me? And cane rolls, because I had cane rolls at the time. But as I grow up, and I'm still growing with the wisdom and so on and so forth, one of the things that I wanted and I appreciate in women is patience. Because we're not going to open up straight away whenever you get into a relationship. Like, tell me everything about you. I want everything. Take time, innit? Take time with man, innit? And when I feel comfortable enough, those things will kind of unravel slowly but surely, innit?
When I was 16, I was just unruly. At 16, I was more on the 3 Fs than the 3 Ks. You get me? So, them times there, it was just all about having a nice girl on my arm for the day or whatever, and then you can go.
And then
you can go off. I got mine. I'm leaving your yard now. Have a nice time. I'll call you in a couple.
If I want you again.
If you work your way to the top of the pyramid again, then you get that call. But
pyramid system.
the pyramid scheme going on. You get me? Like, what business? You get me?
But it's all about growth as well. You get me? We need to be able to grow like the man and the woman and be able to learn each other. The ability to learn is so key because, like, for instance, I was with a girl and. Like, obviously, I was trying to, you know, I always think to better. No. Again, like, I think they got me
if you're the girl, leave a comment.
But like the fact that obviously when she'll tell me things like she will bring so much drama, and I'm cool if you're gonna bring a drama that's affecting you, as long as what we are discussing gets put in place and we actually try to grow from it.
Have a solution at the end.
And the next day she come with the same thing. I'm like, what going for the thing?
Didn't we solve that?
Like, are we gonna put that in place?
One thing I learned though, we don't always have to solve problems. Sometimes it's just expressing how it is. In therapy, what they do is they just let somebody express how they feel. They just discuss, venting. Is to be able to understand that it's not always a solution. Do you always want my opinion?
Listen, it took me ages to learn that. Because I've got like savior syndrome, where like, especially when it comes to my woman, if there's something going on with her, something that is making her emotionally distressed, I want to be the resolution for it. Like, I want to help you out. And sometimes in doing that, you create a rod for your own back because you're getting involved in something that's so personal and that only they can fix. And now you're kind of adding this layer of pressure onto them. Like, why are you still upset? Like you said, you've already had that conversation. Why are you coming back with it? I thought we finished that. We're thinking, something must have happened. But it's not necessarily
Did I leave the toilet seat up again?
Sitting there thinking, and then you just see them vexed for no reason. You're thinking, is this time to be quiet or is this time to say something? It's like, I'm gonna be quiet. And sometimes it doesn't matter what you do. It's not right. It's just not right. It's like this idea that as a man, you're meant to be the one that solves everything. You're meant to be the everything to your woman, innit? You're meant to be her lover and her best friend and her confidant and you know what I'm saying? You're meant to be a good dad. See your youths every day, but at the same time, get out my face. It's like very
do overtime, but come in time.
make the money, but don't do the hours. To
That's it. You want that is it. If you can do that, you'll
figure out a way to get the money in the house without you leaving the house. And for a black man that is emotionally stunted in a lot of ways because of the way society molds us, it's really hard to navigate something as complex as female emotion.
So touching on that, when is it okay for a man or a black man to cry? Is it just at funerals? Like, do you cry?
Never.
Is it okay to cry?
Never. Regardless. It's like you turn around and you scratch your knee as a young person, you know, you fall over, whatever it is, they tell you to get up. So even from crying is not on the spectrum at all.
You're not allowed
Never.
What are you bawling for? You look like a little girl. Don't think there.
Give me something to cry for.
Yeah.
So for me, there is never a time. Even, for example, I've had some friends throughout my lifetime, you know, it hasn't ended yet, that I've lost like parents and so on and so forth. I've lost my parents, my father. And this was a long time ago, and it took, even now, I will probably talk up the things and say to myself, am I fully over the death of my father? I'll probably say no, because at the time I was just like, you know, carrying coffins and whatever it is, and then something just went boof like that and just catch me. I remember receiving the phone call when he passed away and how he passed away.
You didn't cry?
No, nothing. And it just, when I was carrying the coffee, it hit me for 5 minutes. Everyone kind of consoled me and everything else and everything. But after that, I cannot tell you another time that I've cried because I'm just like, well, what's the reason? But again, if it have ever cried or anything like that, it's never been over a woman. It's more been about something else that had connected me into, you know,
like frustration
or something like that. But I've never got to that point where I'm like, you know, I'm crying over a situation that happened.
So it's not really emotional crying when you're crying, it's frustration crying.
Yeah, it's more frustration.
Like anger crying.
Yeah, but I can't tell you, like, I couldn't turn around and pinpoint over the last 5 years easily.
So how long ago did your dad pass?
This I would have been about something like 10, maybe 12.
You was that young and you only cried one time?
Yeah. I think it's probably more pressure I put upon myself that I can't cry. But I couldn't turn around and pinpoint a time where I was like, right, that was the reason why I was emotional about something. Like,
so you think it's on yourself, but if you think about it, all women would cry.
Yeah.
So it has to be something that's instilled in you from young.
But you get the phrases. I bet, like, as soon as your dad passed, there's this idea that you are now the man. You get me? Because your dad was the man and now your dad's gone. So you have to be the man. It doesn't matter how young you are.
When you get a partner now, is your son now not the man? Yeah, he's devoted again. You're the boy again now. That's weird.
But you know what? I don't think they mean it to be a negative thing. They're fulfilling, again, that social norm of how to raise your boy child. So they're trying to instill like confidence. They're trying to uplift him and give him more status and power. But in that, there's a pressure. You know what I mean? There's a 10-year-old child to feel that pressure that you now have to be a replacement for your father. Like,
crazy.
That's stress. That's weight.
Is it? Is it a heavy weight?
Yeah, it must be.
Because I don't think as women we would even think it's a weight. I think we'd see it more like a privilege for you guys. Yeah, like, oh, you get.
And in some ways, yes, it is an
but
honor.
it's more of a pressure,
Yeah. Like growing up, there wasn't really a masculine head in my house. My mum she ruled us. Like I grew up with 6 brothers. I was the middle of that.
Yeah.
So my older brothers, they were like the men of the house.
Yeah.
And my younger brothers were just like the little, and I was just kind of in between somewhere.
Right.
So like, in terms of, my stepdad was around, but he was a very stereotypical yard man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he fulfilled them stereotypes of what he to be able, he made sure that the money was there. And then he'd fall asleep on the sofa and go back to work, and that's about it. He ain't playing with the kids, he ain't doing none of it. There ain't no cinema trips or nothing like that. All this new age dad stuff that's happening that weren't happening. Like, but that was the social norm at the time. You know what I mean? For the father just to come in and be the piggy bank. Like you come in, you make sure the family is set up, and then the woman does the rest, like all the bits in between. So big up the young fathers now, like yourself, that are doing a lot more, way more, and they're not getting half the credit that I think that they should be getting, because a lot of us come from broken homes in a lot of different ways. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if your father was there, seeing your father there and only being
One
there
thing.
to work, only being
One
there to
dimensional
work
father.
and to punish you, like wait until your dad gets home.
Yeah.
Like literally, like that's all your dad is to you. That is still
I'm not gonna
trauma.
lie,
you get
I
me?
am one of those wait till your dad gets
Yeah,
home
so
parents.
yeah.
But that is literally because, and we talked about it in another episode, Mummy Struggles. I don't know if it's going to come out before or after this, so you have to watch every episode to see. But we talked about that. Kids don't listen to us like they listen to you guys. And I don't know if it's the bass in your voice. I don't know if it's your height difference. I don't know if it's because they don't.
It's because
you
they're
don't talk
around
so
you.
much.
I've got a daughter, and when she's around, I see little stints of her being naughty.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So when she comes round and she does little things, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I see what your mum's saying.
Yeah,
You don't really listen all of the time, innit?
And she'll never fully show you.
Yeah, she'll never give me the. So it's being around you all of the time. They know
Yeah.
how to push your button.
Yeah.
Whereas when my daughter comes around, she's like, yes, daddy, yes, daddy, yes, daddy. And
Yeah.
I'm like, but me can't see where she's misbehaving. And then when I'm on the phone and I video call her and whatever it is, and like, you know, her mum's calling her, Z. What, no, you're not supposed to do this. You're excited on the phone to talk to your dad. But then I'm like, okay, cool. I can see her naughtiness.
Yeah.
But because I'm not in the schools and I'm not picking her up all of the time, it's just how she views daddy
Yeah.
or whatever it is. I've never had that phone call like, I'm going to tell your dad that, you know, I've never had to have them things. So, you know, God bless, big up the mother of my daughter.
Yeah.
But it's just those little dynamics where kids are around somebody and they're used to doing things around them, and then when they're not around somebody, you'd expect them to just behave.
Yeah.
It's interesting, going back to the social construct around that, that is seen to be our role. And as a man, sometimes you feel a way to even love on or baby your boy child, or even sometimes even your girl child.
Yeah, no,
because
I'm a lover from pit of them.
Yeah.
I tell my son all the time, if I call him up, first thing, like, he was with me on Friday evening, I just said to him, let's just sit down and just hug up and just
Break the cycle.
Yeah.
and that's
Break all of that.
important. It's
Yeah,
important because a lot of the time, a lot of the reason why these young men grow up to be angry, young
nobody
adults,
tells you, "Man, I love
it's
you."
because they've never got that from
Emotion
any
and
type of
comfort.
male figure, and it's
Or
important.
sometimes female as well. Because
Yeah,
turn
and
around
a
to say to
female.
you, I want you to be a man, so I'm not going to turn around and tell you
Yeah.
I love you as often
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they will want you to be masculine in those kind of
Yeah.
spaces.
But
So
it's,
for
it's
me,
still
it's
kind
not
of
enough.
seen in our society that as a man, for you to love on your child, your boy child, or to show them too much affection is almost making them soft.
Yeah.
Or
No,
you're
I don't
making
like
them.
that,
as-
boys. It's true.
Yeah, it's not a good thing at
Yeah.
all. But that's still within our, especially
Yeah.
the Jamaican culture.
Yeah.
It's very much in there. Like,
like
you have to be certain way,
and
and
it's all been embedded from a long time ago. And a lot of these things, like these people, I won't even say specifically who, but these people know what they're doing because obviously that breaks down a lot of families
Really,
to then have the kids that are on the roads that are causing the statistics for knife crime and this and that and hating and gang culture.
Yeah. And for you
But-
to be comfortable in yourself, when you see your dad behaving that way, and then you're a bit more emotional, you're thinking to yourself as a young youth, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Why am I not broad shoulder like my dad? Why do I care so much?
Yeah.
Or why am
When
I
really
crying?
it's a good thing.
Yeah, when really you're human, you're like you're a
100%.
young boy child, like you're supposed to be feeling these things you're feeling, but because you've been taught and told to be a certain way,
They've been
and-
exposed to certain things that they shouldn't have at certain ages. Like when you watch certain things, you're like, okay, cool, and your whole group of friends are like, yeah, I watch this, it's so dope, rare.
Yeah.
We learn things off of that.
Yeah.
Even as the youth, then they'll learn things that they don't know that they're learning these things, but they'll keep it in their mind, like, yeah, I have to be that certain way because my mandem are, and what everyone's watching is like, yeah, we just have to be hard.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. As men, there's so many things that are attached to being a man or being masculine that make no sense. It's funny that masculinity that's meant to be this symbol of being strong and powerful is so fragile in our society. It's so easy to flick a man off his pedestal, you know. Even as a man entering a room, like obviously I get the same energy from these guys that they're confident guys and whatever. But as a man, when you enter a room, whether you like it or not, you're immediately sensing energy. What type of man am I dealing with? Am I dealing with the conscious man, or am I dealing with the road man, or am I dealing with the intelligent? And you have all of these ideas of how, and then you set yourself in that way.
boundaries.
And you become like either the counter to that.
It's another way of a work
You
environment
get what
kind
I
of
mean? And then
thing.
you sit there and you think to yourself, well, okay, like, all right, it's okay for me to just be myself in this environment. I don't have to put on this bravado. Like, you get what I mean? And it's kind of sad that as a man, you have to enter environments like that because I'm sure I speak for the both of you where when you enter certain environments and you're not with people that are just cool and copacetic and confident in themselves, you have to lower your energy to match the room. Even when you talk about, I remember when I was younger, my brother went vegan, and it was like, haha, you're vegan, you're being healthy, and it's not seen as masculine to be healthy. Like, why you eat some meat? Like, what's wrong with you?
But really, you're trying to better your health.
That's what I'm saying. These times now, I've got ache in my knees. I have to be on the same shit.
I'm
like, I should have ate them beans. Should have ate them beans earlier.
But can we just make the disclaimer? I said yesterday that as Rasta, we're not even going for this vegan talk anymore. It was Ital, It was Ital.
Long before vegan,
so don't come to the Rasta and talk about veganism. It's Ital, Ital is vital. Okay.
But you know, anything that we have, they have to bloody commercialize.
Colonize everything, even the names. You earlier said that, oh, you're the man of the house. When we're raising black boys with all that fathers, what kind of things, whether it's your mum, your auntie, or what you've heard, do women need to stop telling their black boys, teaching their black boys? What do we need to stop doing that's causing harm to you lot in the future, and what do we need to start doing? Like maybe be more affectionate.
Personally, because I grew up with a single mother in some senses, like I said, my stepdad was there, but he weren't present for those kind of things. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like all of the stuff that I had known and learned, I have to accredit to my mother. And even like there's certain things that my mum just could not teach me. Like literally, you just can't be taught that from a woman. You have to learn that. And I was lucky to have older brothers that I could kind of see them failing miserably at certain things and be like, actually, I ain't gonna do that.
Learn from
let me try to do that. Just try to guide them more than to control them and fit them into a box. Yeah. Because the more reins that they have to become themselves, the more organic they're going to be as a young man anyway. Yeah. And that would just make them a well-rounded person in general. Right. And probably a better man.
Right. You so don't try to force your idea of masculinity on him.
Because he's a young man, so he'll see you, especially if you're a single mother. Like for me, I wished that my mum was with a guy that was a bit more loving towards her and took her out on dates. So you don't need to tell your child, do this and do that. They can see it. They're different with you. You get what I mean? So if you give him the reins to kind of just experience life for himself and see what is and isn't right for himself, he will make certain decisions. You get what I mean? Okay. And he might bring you a bunch of flowers on Valentine's Day and just make you feel nice and loved up. And you know that he's doing that of his own accord because you can see like
that does happen, you know. Yeah, the boys write a little note.
That's what I'm saying, and it's important for you as a mother to not see it as, because I know there's certain mothers that will turn around and be like, nah, what you said, give me flowers for, you're not my man. You're my son. Like, don't do that.
Just see it as expressing.
See it as like they almost sexualize it in a weird way, or they make it seem like it's something that only should come from a man that's romantically interested in them. So allow your son to be all of the things that you would wish from a man. Like if he's giving you these things, like say to him, oh, that's nice. Because all it takes is for you to deny him of his masculinity at that point. And then it's just like, oh fuck, I tried to give my mum flowers and then she was like, what are you doing?
So now no girl get flowers.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. So no, you're embarrassed now, so no one's ever getting flowers again, you get me? So those little things.
Like, all them things that you're touching on, because like at the end of the day, if it's a woman raising a guy, like there's going to be certain things that, as you're saying, that they won't be able to show them. And when the boy does show certain characteristics, it's just about being open and actually seeing what drives that characteristic, and not really putting like, this person's kid doesn't do that, why are you doing this?
Don't compare them.
Yeah, all them comparisons can then put them in a box and be like, okay, cool, I can't show this characteristic of myself, because then obviously that's being looked down upon, like from my own mother. So who else would it be looked down upon from?
In my experience, not even from my personal experiences in regards to children, probably in general, they tend to use dads as just a financial support, and it shouldn't just be the financial support of what it is. Your kids need this, but you didn't say your kids need love. Pinpointing you as a boss is just financial aid for your child. Right. When you're much more like, it's not like I can't show love to my kids or whatever it is. This is why I emphasize calling my kids and just saying I love you for that reason that I didn't receive it, and it's breaking that cycle as well. Maybe say, oh, your kids might need something for school or whatever the case may be. Your kid needs consoling. He's had a long day at school. Give him a call and just check on him. Cool. that level of having that involvement within those kids' lifetime, not just to say, oh, I'll call my dad just because I need A, B, and C.
So don't just bring a male in for financial or discipline. Bring them in for nurturing and love.
For example, for me personally, when my kids come round, I let them understand that there's no particular roles that is kind of assigned to any specific parent. So if you cook with your mum, then you cook with me. I bake a lot. So my daughter might turn around and be like, oh, Daddy, you want to do dress up? I want to be able to paint. I paint my daughter's nails.
Yeah.
I paint my
nails.
Does
she paint yours?
And she tries to. But I've got it's like a paintbrush. But I've got no masculinity roles. I've got nothing wrong with my game for my daughter to turn around and practice because she wants to practice. Yeah. It doesn't mess with me in any kind of shape or form. And it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm doing something that's unmasculine because my daughter's just practicing to do her nails. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. And all of those things where they will turn around and be like, well, mothers have to cook and so on. Son, you're 8 years old, you're 13 years old, you learn how to cook. Yeah. So there's no kind of specific roles of you being independent. Because one of the stereotypical things of being masculine or whatever it is you're a breadwinner. But how do you breadwin when you're living by yourself?
You can't even take care of yourself.
You need to be able to take care of yourself.
There's so many grown men that don't have basic life skills.
But I'm only kind of orientating that in regards to just being men. It's the women as well. Yeah. So for certain things, I don't have a gender specific roles for those things. Having those roles that don't have any kind of gender specifics, especially when it comes to my kids, and not weaponizing, and I would say weaponizing what your kid is requiring within their lives. They need stability to turn around and be like, I need to talk to my dad about something. And I don't feel like I just can talk to mum, because it shouldn't be like that. I co-parent for all of my kids, and for them to turn around and have the openness, especially as a black man, I want them to say, like, I just don't have to, oh, daddy's a little bit stern. I don't want that. I don't want that to turn around and be like, my dad is only a disciplinarian. I want him to be, I've got a problem, Dad, can I come and talk to you about something? And that's for me is hella important. And I say this especially for, like, we're talking about young black mums and so on and so forth. You guys do a hell of a lot. So big up all the single mothers out there, because y'all do a hell of a lot. And there's a lot of single mothers that don't get the praise for that.
Bringing it back to depression, give the brothers that are watching some of your ways of staying grounded, whether it be writing music or gym or what kind of things do you personally do to de-stress when you're in that space?
Take a bath.
Yeah.
A hot one. Steam room.
You never understand, like, the power of water and connection with water is a mad thing. It's a mad thing. And one of the things that I try and manage in regards to my personal mental health is by having a bath. It sounds maddening, but it just releases a lot of tension. The word relax and bath go in the same kind of element. When you say around and say relax, I'm gonna have a hot bath. Like me, I like to use my little Radox salts and stuff like that. You get me? Like Epsom salts and things like that. You get me? But I'm an extrovert, so I turn around and get myself a little vegan chocolate bar and have in there. I read a little book or whatever. Some people, you don't read books, cool. You get me? You might just listen to your music, but go in there with the intention to relax my mind.
And people would think that that's not a norm, but. Or man them don't like things like that, but we're human beings. Of course,
like everybody else.
Like, sometimes you have to proper reaffirm the fact that there's just universal things that you're just going to need as a person. You know what I mean? So and
spas.
If you're living in that fast-paced life, which a lot of us are, as Londoners especially, the only time that you have to really reflect and stop and slow down is when you're in a bath or in a shower. That's why even when you're watching movies and stuff, their reflection time is always they're in the shower with their head down and then thoughts are going through their brain because it's
raining and they're by the window.
It's the only time you're forced.
You
get me?
No, I get what you're saying. That actually makes sense because, obviously there were studies done with water and how you speak to the water, and if you freeze it, it changes in the shape of it. Or you got a book like that.
So it's from. I haven't read it, so I'm not gonna act like I have. It's from Dr. F. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. I'm going to show it on the camera. This is the guy.
Yeah.
And it says, obesity, cancer and depression, how water can help cure those deadly diseases. So I haven't read it yet, but if you are interested in furthering your information,
definitely. And I think that's why as well, things like just speaking over your food and what you consume and all of that. And again, it comes down to water because a lot of the things we eat, and we are high percentage of water. So what we put into our body, we need to actually give it a vibration first.
I heard if you speak to the water before you drink it and say I want to be healed, or I want to be happy.
Yeah, all of that. Like, it's all about the mental space and subconscious mind. And for me, what I do for in terms of the if you're feeling down and all of that, what works for me is, first it was self-development books, which then led me to meditation, and meditation led me down a path of actual the power of your subconscious mind. So the words that you put in, like,
words
and
of
just
affirmation,
all of that, and
what you tell
only you can approve of yourself and improve yourself. So that helped me, like, to understand that there's no point in me worrying about another person's thoughts, because I can't control that person. Like, just control you and be your best self.
Don't watch face.
Exactly. And when you're in that positive vibration, like, that same vibration is what comes back to you. Like, once you're actually thinking on that level.
Well, you put it out.
Yeah, exactly. So once you can get out of the low vibration, and whatever your source is to do that, whether it's music, poetry, whatever, meditation really helped me as well to understand that we are such powerful beings, and the society and social media, everything that takes away from that, because we think that there's a specific thing that we have to be, like, even again the toxic masculinity, or just masculinity in total, like, you have to portray a certain way because this thing's showing you and it's showing the world that, so now everyone gets that message. But really, like, you have to be your best self and help others around you as well, and just be a positive person. Like, once you show love, love's gonna come back to you.
I say you didn't say fake it till you make it when it comes to business. That helps me personally with depression. So first of all, if I know that I'm sunk and I'm there, I'm gonna put on Big Bang Theory, Cat Williams stand up, something that's gonna make me laugh by force. It's by force happiness. So I will literally play advert songs. That's what we call it. You know them, like, white people music that you don't listen to on a regular. Like
Spice Girls.
I'm Luke, I'm 5, and my dad's British. All that stuff. It does. Maybe because I'm British as well, it helps. But I'll put on all that clowning stuff, and I will talk to people who I know is gonna make me laugh or not be depressed as well, and fake happiness. And then within an hour, I'm genuinely happy.
And it's about that as well. Your circle, you can be like someone that gets affected so much by outside sources, and you can actually try to build yourself up, but when you go back to that same circle, you're going back down. Exactly that.
I think I'm the opposite, to be fair. When I'm down, I need to embrace it. I need to embrace that I'm feeling low.
Accept it.
If I don't identify that and I try to force the happiness, then it just prolongs.
It just pushes it aside.
That's what I'm saying. When I do get in that depressed state, it's normally because something slowed me down. So it's like when you're working and whatnot, these are all distractions from your emotions that certain things could have happened to me 10 years ago. But because I haven't allowed myself to slow down to really deep, whatever that was.
It's build up.
So it coming to the lockdown now, in that state of lockdown, I ain't gonna lie, as soon as lockdown happened, first couple of weeks was blessed.
Yes, break.
No work, I'm on a holiday. Week 4, 5, 6, it got deep. I was like, rah. I'm just in my yard,
not doing nothing.
Outside of working, what am I actually doing? And then you're thinking, rah, like, I actually have time. And then you really fall into a stint of kind of thinking to yourself, all right, what have I got now? When everything's been stripped away, and, like, I'm not a particularly materialistic person, but I can imagine people that rely on things like social media and clothes and cars and how they seem in public, when all of that is taken away and it's just you in the living room,
forces you to
think. You get what I'm saying? Like, what you have to, it forces you to think about where your actual values lie and what actually brings you genuine joy. You get what I mean?
And that's key, I think, as well. Like, as you're saying, we have so much distractions which make it so hard for us to be able to analyze ourselves and actually analyze an issue and be like, okay, cool. So that's maybe the way that's coming from, and perhaps there's not a solution for it right now, but you need to own it and be like, okay, cool, I feel this certain way when this happens, so perhaps maybe I'll make sure I'm not in that situation again.
Everybody watched Kung Fu movie before, innit? Right? And the Buddhists and so on and so forth.
The monks.
Yoga, all about flexibility and so on and so forth, when they're practicing and doing all their Kung Fu moves and whatever it is, they go back to a point where they have to meditate to get rid of that energy and whatever it is to balance themselves. And I think understanding that there's going to be a point where you burn out, and a lot of people get to that point where they burn out. It doesn't matter what you're doing, you need a break, innit? And in regards to relating those like kung fu and so on and so forth, meditation and taking that, you don't have to sit down and say kumbaya, my lord. You get me? And
you don't have to do all that.
And it could be 15 minutes, you know.
15 minutes.
You can start off with a 15
Just
minutes.
start somewhere. For me, like my ritual is as a Sunday is to relax before I start my routine of going back to work, innit?
I have to reset myself.
Yeah,
on that
I have to
Sunday,
reset.
or the week just starts off on a bad
I just say to myself, I have to get to that point where I'm like, all right, I'm either taking a bath, I'm going to take 15 minutes, I'm going to do some stretches just to be able to say, all right, cool, let's go on to the next step. And for me, it's just, it doesn't have to be that you sit down in the bath, but you have to take a time out. I was like writing poetry, all of the things that stigma that men shouldn't do, I was doing it because I just said I wanted to go against the grain and I was going to do it anyway. But I just turned around and I just said to myself, you know what? If I don't do this, this is where black men and mental health and suicide rates and whatever the case may be, because it's kind of crazy for the black men in regards to suicide rates, because it's not directly linked to what people think it is, but it's interesting when people turn around and say they're always on the go and they're always on the go. You know, you're an artist, you're doing business, you're doing this, and then you burn out because you just turn around and done too much. I go to the gym as a part of my mental health to give me a little bit of a routine.
A lot of men say that.
I've turned around and saying to myself, this routine is not essential because even still, because you're active always in the gym, I'm eating right, I'm doing this right, I'm doing this, I'm still. But you're burning yourself out. So taking a day out from that routine is part of what you're supposed to do.
Being still.
Being still. And being
you gotta balance yourself out.
You got to balance it out. And yes, your mind is always active. I want to spit bars. But if you don't turn around and have that point where you say, all right, I need a bit of silence. Or you need that.
You need to be okay with doing nothing.
Hey, that's
all right with that.
Especially the social media world.
And
every time you get a break, you grab your phone.
And especially for the man. Doing nothing as a man is like, what do you mean you're doing nothing? You're not allowed to do
You feel
nothing.
useless or what?
You just feel inadequate. You don't feel like you're fulfilling the bare minimum that men are meant to fulfill.
So if you just settle yourself for a minute, you feel guilty for even.
It's not even so much guilt. It's just like I don't know how to describe it. It's like
I need to do something.
Productivity is driven so hard into our brain, like that you need to be on. You hear it all the time again in music that you need to be on your grind, you need to be hustling, you need to be. You know what I mean?
Work.
And then when you pick up your phone, it's the same. I'm not a slave to social media. Thank God for that, because I'm seeing how it's affecting certain, not even just the youth, but certain grown people. You know what I mean? I've always used things like Instagram as like my man was saying, to look back on certain things and be like, all right, cool. This time last year, where was I? What was I doing? Kind of thing. The fact that it's posted, like, don't get me wrong, the affirmation from people where they say, yeah, keep doing your thing. Just like when you cross a finish line after a marathon race and people cheer you on. It's always nice, but that's not what I'm there for. I'm there for the documentation, innit? Like, even the other day, funny enough, like one of my brethrens, and he didn't mean it in a bad way, but it could be taken like...
Somebody drew someone out. Who's your brethren?
No, I'm not drawing no one out. I'm not drawing no one out.
Show us to get juicy.
No, I'm not drawing no one out. Because, like I said, I overstand the way that people think and feel about something. And it's a a lot of the time when certain men say things to each other that are not productive or positive, it's like a self-reflection thing. They feel that way about themselves. So
projection.
So how dare you not feel that very same way? You get what I mean? So I must have posted something on my Instagram talking about how far I've come and like just kind of realizing the small steps that I'm taking in order to become a better person, innit?
Show your progress.
And off the back of that, it was like, like he left a comment, you're always posting this shit, no one cares, kind of thing. And in my
discouraging.
and in my brain, because I know the guy, innit? Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, I see you on here posting the same stuff that I'm posting, and I know now from your comment that that's why you're posting that, because you're looking for that affirmation. So I said to him, like, fair enough, brother, no one actually has to care, because I'm not posting it for anyone to care. It's literally like, me, so that I can look back on it and it's documented, in it. I don't have to think about it until it becomes relevant. But for him and so many other people, the endorphins from that like button, boy. Oh my God. There's some serious social media crack fiends going on out here, like, literally.
By the way, subscribe.
To take it back to the question as well on black men's mental health as well. Like, it's mad because they're just saying this rates being so high, but
yeah, let's touch on that. Black men's fatality rates. Can we touch?
Yeah,
on
I mean,
what
does it? Where does it come from? It stems from the fact that in society, like realistically, let's be honest, this isn't really our country. Like, so at the end of the day, there's going to be so much stigma and negativity looked towards you because you're supposed to be seen a certain way, and it's really hard to break those things. Like. And the fact that you need to go home with that, and that's going to add on top of whatever depression you have, like. And I say with black people as well, I was speaking to a friend who had sickle cell, and they said when they go to the hospital, because sickle cell isn't really known about, you would think 2021 it should be, but it's not really known about, because so they don't get mistreated, and the nurses don't respond in a certain way when they do ask for things. They actually bring treats for the nurses and stuff
to try to
sweet them up and get them on side and all of that. And the fact that you got to do little things like that, I say little things, but that's a big thing. Imagine you're in a sickle cell crisis, you purchase something to actually get them on side.
Right.
Like, so imagine even the workplaces and all of that. So it
feels like what the guy said in the comment. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
So you've got to like make them care, make them like
care. Like, and it's that must be a lot of weight. Like, just
And off the back of that, like I give blood for specifically sickle cell because I've got my blood.
You know
what I mean?
Can we try and get more people doing that, please?
We need to, man. I know we've
blood
got
transfusions is a regular thing.
As a people, again, where you don't want to go to the hospital because you feel like they're going to clone you or something when they take your blood or whatnot.
That's the question that I actually skipped. I was going to ask you why black men don't like going into hospitals and to doctors till last minute. But we could go on that. We'll get back to that, don't worry.
I would say in regards to like specifically that rates,
yes.
it's more subtle. It's very, very subtle. So it's not that we directly turn around and commit, and this is how they look at what it is, leaving a note describing how the events have actually happened.
I've got that.
Right? So for you to have a note and so on and so forth to say that it's different for the black community. For us, if for example we are, they say that we're in ourselves, right? Ourselves in that kind of stunt, because we know that getting into criminality leads to one of two things: prison time or death. Right. So we are in. They're basically saying within the community that they are committing based on knowing that the fact that there is only two outcomes for what you're going to be ending up in regards to your criminality.
You lose,
you lose and you lose, and that's how the rates are. This is how they've not stigmatized, but explained black community rates. And it's not that we have a bad mental health and we go for this job and we work in finance and it's so depressing. No, it's not that. It's more to do with knowing, unconsciously knowing that if I get into criminality, it doesn't matter where I'm going to end up. It doesn't turn around and you don't end up on a ship, on a yacht and end up like Escobar or something like that. It doesn't, them things there's two outcomes. If you follow this path, you're either going to end up or in prison, and if you end up in prison, it's probably going to kill you anyway, because to turn around and do 10 years within a prison and you come out, you're going to commit of that kind of nature anyway, because you've done 10 years, you've been institutionalized, you haven't been rehabilitated back into the community. So what do? You turn around, you close yourself off, and then you end up leaving those notes.